I'm only about an hour into this game, so it's difficult to give you a good idea of what the game's going to be like, but I can tell you at RTX Ultra settings, it does look amazing. The reflections are incredible, and I really appreciate some of the options they've added in the settings section. There are some options like turning off copyrighted music, which is brilliant for me. You can hide nudity, which helps with the YouTube thing. There are so many options that I really did appreciate, but, and you probably already know where this is going, they failed with the key rebinds again, which was unacceptable for Fallout 76 and Fallout 4. It's unacceptable when Bethesda failed at this. It was unacceptable when it was a failure for Rage 2, and it's unacceptable for this game. I love CD Projekt Red. I loved The Witcher, and I'm probably going to love this game, but I gotta call you out on this. I've gotta call you out on this. The key rebinds, I still don't understand how it's possible to get this wrong, but you did. You cannot rebind forward and back to arrow keys. You get a little message telling you binding failed. I can rebind left and I can rebind right, but not backwards and forwards. I mean, it's absolutely bizarre. And I don't mean I can't rebind backwards and forwards. I could rebind it to the D key if I wanted. I mean, obviously it's now clashing, just not the backwards and forwards arrow keys, the up and down arrow keys, which is weird. Now I can change that in the settings file, and apparently it will work, although I should not have to do that. But there's more. There seems to be no way in menu to change the activation key. You know, the key that you use to talk to people, to pick things up, to activate. It's F, which, I don't know, it seems an odd choice to me. It's not completely, well, weird, but it feels a little strange. But, you know, alright, fine. But I can't rebind it. And I don't understand why. And what's weirder is there's no entry in the settings file. I searched for IK_F, which is the F key, and the only thing it's set for is getting in and out of vehicles, which means I can't even use the settings file to change the activation key from F. I'm stuck with it. And the same is true for the map, the crafting, the inventory, the character menu, the journal, and the main menu key. These all seem to be hard-coded somewhere, and you cannot change them even with the settings file. And that is not a good sign. And worse, I've got this special programmable keyboard thing called a Stream Deck. It's basically a keyboard that can be programmed with so many different things, and you can put a little picture on each key. And I set up a nice little panel with keys for Cyberpunk 2077 for things like the map, the crafting menu, the character menu, and put nice little icons on them so I could just press the button and go straight there. Doesn't work. Does not work. Even though this thing just simulates key presses the same way a lot of keyboards do, isn't working, which tends to suggest that this game's hooking into the keyboard in a different way to other games. I'm wondering if that explains why the key rebinds are an issue. But it doesn't actually matter. It is, well, it is unacceptable. As I said, I've called out other developers, gotta call CD Projekt Red out for this. This is not acceptable. Now, Witcher 3 had a similar problem with things like the menus. The map key was hard-coded to M, but that got fixed, which I think it got fixed. I seem to remember it being fixed. Hopefully this will get fixed too. I'm a little disappointed that it's shipped like this. Now, I know there's probably a lot of other people saying, oh, this is not a major issue. I have crashes every 20 minutes. I'm not, by the way. I'm rock solid. Or many other problems. And I get it. There are plenty of other problems people might have. And very often those problems might be sort of, game changing. I gotta tell you, key rebinds are game breaking for a lot of people. It depends what device they're using, what keyboard they are using. And yes, for those of you who live in that tiny little bubble that you think is the entire universe, there are people out there who don't necessarily have a QWERTY keyboard in front of them because they don't live in a country where the QWERTY keyboard is the standard keyboard, okay? Get out of your bubble and stop making excuses when developers fail this, right? They're not just supposed to be making games for where you live, all right? Or for people who happen to be right-handed and are comfortable with this, because there's a lot of left-handed people who want to rebind keys. Sorry. Said I wasn't going to rant. Said I wasn't going to rant. Not going to rant. This problem may seem minor to some of you, but it's major to other people. But more importantly, this is something that should not be our problem on PC gaming. Can't believe I'm having to say this in 2020. This is something that should not be a problem. It's a basic feature for 99.7% of the games that get released on PC. I know it seems like I complain about this all the time. It's because I keep finding games. I find, four or five games a year that have failed at this. There are thousands of games that don't fail it, though. And that's what's actually truly annoying. So many games get this right, and it shouldn't be difficult. So it's annoying when they get it wrong. If you're a controller user and you're trying to figure this out, and imagine the game came and for some odd reason the thumbstick didn't work the way you normally would want it to work, right? It's just doing things that were weird and you couldn't change it. You'd be questioning it. You'd be saying, why do so many other games get the thumbstick working fine and you don't? This shouldn't be difficult. It's a lot easier to get those things right than it is to, say, get performance and optimization. Those things are complicated. Optimization, massively complicated. Finding weird bugs and weird crashes, massively complicated. Not hard coding keys, very simple. It's a basic principle of software development. This is something that just drives me nuts because it shouldn't be a problem. This is something I would like to see patched out. Yes, it is.